Welcome to The Rebound with Coach Matt Doherty.
Welcome to The Rebound. I'm Matt Doherty, and I'll be your host. On this show, we focus on the topic of leadership and overcoming adversity in an open and raw kind of way. We discuss failures and how to rebound from them. Over the course of the last few months, we've interviewed experts, politicians, celebrities, sports figures, and journalists about their rebound in life and their greatest concerns about our future. There have been some themes that repeat themselves and reveal truths that are worth exploring and bring to light. In his speech to endorse Donald Trump on August 23rd, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stated that he was leaving the Democratic Party because, and I quote, "It is no longer the party of transparency. It is now the party of censorship and corruption." When I heard him say the word censorship, it occurred to me that I've heard that from a lot of people recently, as they were guests on my show. And when taken together, they make a compelling argument that we may be getting near the truth. And The Rebound wants to bring the truth to you. One of my 6 leadership principles is you need to mine for the truth. Either you manage the truth or the truth manages you right out the door. I've been very fortunate to be able to sit with very smart people who are all sounding the same alarm about the increased censorship of free expression in America. RFK went on to say that all of our freedoms are based on free expression, and he believes that right is in jeopardy. In June, I interviewed Seamus Bruner, the best-selling author of the book Control Oligarchs. He's an extraordinarily smart person and courageous. And his perspective on censorship is that the government is colluding with big tech and the media to suppress our freedom of speech. So tell me, you go after some of the most the most powerful people in the world. What kind of threats, fallout, pushback have you experienced?
Yeah, so Amazon, for one, is the biggest retailer. That's one of the reasons I included Jeff Bezos in this book, which is not necessarily the smartest thing to do if you're an author trying to sell books. But we definitely saw Bezos' thumbs on the scales. He has not flat out removed Control Oligarchs, but he has removed a number of other books. So you got to be careful what you publish if you want to sell on the number one retailer. Of course, LinkedIn is owned by Bill Gates. We saw some funny business with that. But I think everybody has experienced these big tech oligarchs messing with their accounts, messing with their reach, trying to shut them down. We've been through all of that. And that's one of the reasons we like to publish books. We know that they're sort of a dying medium, but they're permanent. You can't erase a physical book, which is why it's so important to get hard copies of the books that you need. And this is one of them because, everything is vanishing from the internet. I see it on Google all the time. They keep changing their algorithms and making it harder and harder to find the truth.
You're printing this book. You're doing interviews. I see them. This is juicy stuff. How come the media is not picking up on it?
Yeah, well, Chapter 7 is called Mainstream Mind Control, and it's all about the corporate media companies and how they are controlled by the control oligarchs. I mean, you've got huge investments, big companies like BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street who hold large chunks. But then, of course, it's not just the money. There's a lot of ideological reasons that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell the truth. And so, that too is a dying medium, by the way, corporate media. CNN viewership's at all-time low. But you look at the people behind these companies, and I go into them one by one. I mean, Ted Turner doesn't own CNN anymore, but you can't find a more ideologically driven person than the founder of CNN, Ted Turner. I mean, the guy's a total nut job. He says that a lot of these guys are concerned with overpopulation, so-called overpopulation. Ted Turner is one of them. He thinks that the planet should have no more than 1, maybe 2 billion people. And so you look at these guys, and they are extremely ideologically driven. George Soros, for example, he also is sort of into this overpopulation stuff. He funds a lot of the methods for bringing down the birth rates. That would be abortion and birth control. I get into that and all of the investments from this billionaire class into all kinds of methods of abortion and contraception. And so it's a lot of ideology. You know that it's not profit reasons why the news is so bad, because they lose money. They lose money by being fake news. So that's really what kind of drives a lot of it. There's 6 corporations, a lot of people know this, that own 95% of the media in America. And that's why it's so important to watch shows like this one, ones that are not controlled.
Senator Tommy Tuberville joined us last month and expanded on what Seamus referred to as the deep state, which is a coordinated effort to pursue policy that is not in the best interest of the American people, but of the people that are supposed to serve us, usually designed so they can maintain power in D.C.
You know, we've got a lot of people here that don't like the way our country has been run. They don't like our Constitution.
The more I studied politics, and I've been on a WBT, a local radio show in Charlotte, and I was very confused as to why people were supporting the destruction of our cities, financing protests, destroying the fabric of our country. And I really couldn't understand it. The more I read, the more the word communism came up. Socialism, Marxism, and then you start reading about the manifesto, the Communist Manifesto, about breaking down the nuclear family, churches, the media, propaganda, the indoctrination of schools, students. What do you see from where you sit in D.C.?
I couldn't have said it better. You're exactly on line with all of it. It's a different world that a lot of these people up here want for the United States of America. First of all, I call them globalists, and most people probably, I don't know whether you know what a globalist is. The people out there, globalist is somebody that doesn't want any borders anywhere. Everybody is in the same country. Anybody can go anywhere they want, do anything they want. And right now, we've got globalists that are running our country because we have no southern border. We have thousands coming across a day. Some people that are good, but most we're getting from other countries are garbage. People's criminals, convicts, they're emptying their jails or prisons, and they're coming to the United States of America. But they want a one world government. They want United States is they're the big apple left. Europe is gone. Mass immigration has destroyed Europe. The animals are running in the zoo in almost every big city in Paris, London, Berlin. All these countries have lost because of mass immigration. The only one left is the United States of America. And they want the same thing that's happening in Europe right now. Bad crime, recession, people controlling the streets, dirt everywhere, trash everywhere. And the elite are the only ones that have the power. Well, they want the same thing here. And by golly, in my watch, we're going to try to keep that from happening. And hopefully we can do it. But I'm telling you, I've never seen like the followers. We don't have leaders in Washington, D.C. Most of the people up here follow the elite for some reason, instead of say, listen, that's not what America's about. America's about freedom and Constitution and God and things that we've been able to thrive on and give people a chance to earn something by merit.
Who's behind, like when Biden got elected, I was thinking there's somebody else pulling the strings, right? Who's behind the scenes? Is it the George Soroses of the world, the Bill Gates? Who's pulling the strings in DC?
Yeah, it's the deep state. It's the Soroses, the Clintons, the Obamas, Pelosi and Schumer. You know, these people have loved Joe Biden being president because they run the show. He just taking long vacations every week. He loves being president, flying around on the plane. He has not had a cabinet meeting with all his cabinet members since last October. That'd be like having a football coaching staff and playing games and not ever meeting with your coaches, basically say, okay, y'all just show up Saturday and we're going to see if this works out. Just do your own thing. We have no leadership. And it's getting to the point where our country is really, really suffering from all standpoints. Look at the crime. Look at the rate. Look at our farmers, for instance. Nobody ever talks about our farmers. We are losing thousands of farmers a week. We lost 150,000 farms in the last 3 years. We lost 25,000 farmers. Folks, Walmart doesn't grow the food out of back of Walmart. They get it on other farms. People, a lot of these kids that are in these woke schools now think that the grocery stores raise the food, not the farmers. We are in huge trouble because of common sense.
But that's driven by the deep state. They want this. They want the chaos. It's good for government business, right? I mean, they are in business. I said this on another show that when Abraham Lincoln was a senator, they went to D.C. part-time and they went home and worked a job. But now a lot of politicians, this is their career. They've been lifetime politicians that are working on behalf of some other entity that's footing the bill. So they're making decisions that aren't in the best interest of the American people.
Exactly. They speak for corporations and people that help them get reelected. I didn't come up here to stay forever. I come up here to help. If I can't help, I'm going home, play golf, go fishing, enjoy we're in the fourth quarter of life, and you want to enjoy that with your kids and your grandkids and all those things. But let me tell you, we've got this machine up here that's called the deep state. It ramped up last week with President Trump. They missed the assassination attempt. He makes it to the Republican convention. It was a huge pep rally. Everything's going in the right way, and the machine says there's no way Joe Biden can win. So it's not his corruption. It's not his decision making. It's not his age. It's not his sickness. He can't win. So he's out. Who's up next? That's how they work. And that's exactly what happened. And so that thing was done overnight with Kamala Harris. She tells everybody that she's African American. She's not. She's Indian and Jamaican. Well, let's don't get in a race deal. Let's pick out the best person to lead this country. That's what the American people want and they deserve. And hopefully that's what we do in the next 3 months. We pick the right person.
Another tactic revealed during these interviews was the notion that certain stories are suppressed while others are promoted according to the leaders of those platforms, ABC, CBS, NBC. News isn't news anymore. News is what the control oligarchs decide is news. In Nazi Germany, that was called propaganda. Let's go to break. And when we come back, we'll continue to talk about censorship in the media. OMJ Clothing is an elite men's clothing store that provides a vast array of spectacular brands of men's lifestyle apparel for every day. Elevate your business upscale casual at OMJ. Success comes from standing out. The Rebound is sponsored by Sector Spider ETFs, a unique family of exchange-traded funds that divide the S&P 500 into 11 sector index funds. You can buy just the sectors you like or customize the S&P 500 by weighting the 11 sectors to meet your financial objective. Please visit them on the web at sectorspiders.com. That's sector, SPDRS.com.
Alps Portfolio Solutions Distributor, a registered broker-dealer, is the distributor for the Select Sector Spider Trust.
Kash Patel and several other past Rebound guests suggest that the media engages in selective reporting. Kash has been on the Rebound show a couple of times, and he believes that some news is created to compromise President Trump. Kash has also been the target of untrue stories. Some of these false claims are being delivered to the public via the Associated Press. We used to refer to that organization as a newswire. Now it generates false headline news, and Kash has been a victim. What should every American fear most? about government gangsters?
The ones that are in fear of government gangsters are the ones that are in on the lie. And that's what they fear the most about Donald Trump. He exposed Russiagate, 51 Intel, disinformation campaigns from impeachment 1, Ukraine, to January 6th, to impeachment 2, and so forth, right? They are afraid that if he comes in, he's going to finish the job. And what's so powerful about government gangsters is it's grounded in the truth of not about what I think the truth is. It's about what the corrupt evildoers in Washington write down themselves, and we take them and their documents and we put them out because they think they're never going to get caught. And that's why the film's so powerful. It's not me saying anything. I'm literally reading what they did. And I'm taking the document and saying, look at this. It's the CIA's pre-publication review of the 51 Intel letter that Gina Haspel cleared in 6 hours, which is unheard of. And it was a lie. So I think they're afraid of the truth because it's targeting them.
What is the media's role in all of this? And I mainly mean, why haven't they embraced it and just fed it to the American people?
That's what the media's role should be, telling the truth. The media, for the most part, is in bed with these corrupt government gangsters. Without the media, the mainstream media, there would be no deep state. There would be no government gangsters because they wouldn't partner up together to champion lie after lie after lie, all in the name of getting Donald Trump. That's literally all they care about. And they don't care how bad they lie to you, how much money of our taxpayer dollars they light on fire, and what weaponized system of government they use to do it next. And the mainstream media has been caught lying about the same exact things. They stood up Russiagate. They said the FBI would never lie to a federal judge. They said the Department of Justice would never be weaponized. They said the intelligence community would never rig a presidential election by lying about the contents of a president's son's laptop. They did all of those things in lockstep with the media, and the media is just as afraid now because they're personally attacking us, and all we've ever cared about is the truth.
Why is the media a part of this? What do they have to gain to play this game?
That's a fantastic question, and not many people have ever really asked that. You know, what they care about is money, popularity, and fame. It's Hollywood. That's all they want. They want to be the best-selling publication. They want to be the most watched, entity on cable news. They want it so they are the center of attention. And what the media has forgotten is their neutrality, their ability decades ago to just report the truth and then insert themselves in that lane and then pull themselves out. Now they're saying, we're not only publication opinion pieces, we're telling you our opinion is the fact. They don't even care anymore. They don't even differentiate between the two. It's one thing if they went on and said, I'm doing an opinion piece. This is my opinionated show. Right. This is my opinions on what I see happening. Everything they say, they want you to take it as the Old Testament. And we're just not going to let them do it.
Why do people play the role they play?
It's all of the above. And whether it's Stephanopoulos or anything else, just think of how savage the Democrats have been in the last month. The Democratic Party of the United States of America has thrown out 14 million votes in the Democratic national process that nominated Joe Biden to be their nominee for presidency of the United States before the Democratic National Convention even occurred. And then they airmailed in Kamala Harris and said, we don't care how Americans voted in this democratic process. We are going to anoint the next nominee for presidency of the United States for the Democratic Party. You want to talk about hijacking the system of the electoral public, and they were trying to tell us that's what we were doing. And they get guys like Stephanopoulos to come in and say, ooh, Kamala's the greatest thing ever. Don't worry about the fact that we literally lit state law after state law on fire by removing your delegate authorities, by telling you and mandating you who you must vote for, and by anointing her before the DNC ever even happens. This is the Democratic Party on steroids, and the media is helping them every step of the way because you nailed it. If they don't, Coach, they lose their access. They don't get their interviews. They don't get to go to the White House, and they don't get to go to the Christmas parties. It
is about access. I think of sports, every big time coach had his favorite and gave that person access. And if that person would write a bad article, their access would be cut off. And then their readers wouldn't read their articles because they didn't have inside information.
Yeah.
So how is Kamala part of this apparatus now?
Well, look, she put the wheels in motion. If anybody is thinking she was just sitting on the sideline, not just wishing for this to happen, you guys have been not paying attention for basically the last 10 years. They called the Obama apparatus. They called the mainstream media. They called Nancy Pelosi. They called all the power players in Hollywood, the Katzenbergs and the big dollar guys and the big famous actors, and said, listen, George Clooney, we need you to write an op-ed. I mean, these people folded all of this together masterfully. You got to give them credit, savagely, but masterfully, in an anti-democratic fashion, because they knew what we had been saying all along, Coach. Joe Biden is an ineffective, inept president. We are in the national security crisis of our times right now. And they knew after the last debate, they couldn't even lie in the mainstream media to cover up his just baseless and ineptitude. And so what they did was, okay, let's appoint the next person we can control. It's not like Kamala Harris has a record to stand on. Her immigration policies have literally led to the deaths of children, the raping of women, and the flooding of our streets of narcotics from China and other locations to kill our youth. That's not a record to be proud of.
Through these interviews, it's hard not to notice a pattern of concern about the government interference with the news and censorship designed to favor one party. I recently spoke with several journalists on this topic. Joy Pullman is the managing editor of The Federalist. She is a best-selling author and a truth teller. Joy explains why the media bias is decidedly left.
People need to feel that they can make a difference. And a lot of times we may not be able to feel, people may not be able to feel they can because the media. Now, you've been in the media for a while now. Why is the media generally controlled by the left side of the aisle?
Well, there are a lot of reasons for that. I think currently the biggest one is just that the big tech is a censorship monopoly over all of the internet airwaves. And the internet is basically, the through which almost all the communications in this country flow. I don't know. I mean, I actually do personally write letters still, but, not most people don't, and we don't put, we have our daily conversations through text, through chats, through emails and all the rest. And so if you have big tech monopolies that are basically have government favoritism, gives them the ability to control all the information flow, then you're handing over, Google, more 98%, I believe, 98%, of their employee donations have gone to Democrats, right? Huge left-wing player. They have people big executives at Google who left to, work on the campaigns of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. These are super left organizations and they don't even hide it.
Most of these interviews on The Rebound were with politicians and journalists, and most of them lean conservative. However, when I listened to RFK endorse former President Trump, he very clearly described the exact same concerns about a government aligning with big interest and eliminating free speech to achieve their goals. We've heard some compelling insights about censorship and media control. Let's revisit a key point from Seamus Bruner, the author of Controligarchs.
I mean, we are in the final minute, down 3 here, and it's all hands on deck. We need to focus on these issues. We need to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up. If you're not doing something and you say, what can I do? What can little old me do against these basically trillionaires? There's a number of things you can do. Education is a hugely important thing. We need to be waking up our students to all of the garbage that they are teaching them in schools. And so if you're not involved in your child's education, you need to get involved.
Many people believe this concentration of media ownership raises important questions about the diversity of information available to the public. There you have it. Authors, politicians, and journalists all saying the exact same thing. Yet half our population is being manipulated through deliberate misinformation. Thank you for joining us as we explored these crucial issues of censorship and media bias. Keep watching us and we'll keep searching for the truth. I'm Matt Doherty, and this has been The Rebound. God bless.